Welcome to NARAL's The Morning After. Each Thursday, our podcast brings you the latest on reproductive health care, progressive politics, and the fight to keep abortion safe and legal. NARAL's The Morning After is a production of NARAL Pro-Choice Ohio. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at ProChoiceOH. Enjoy the show.
I'm Gabe.
Hi, I'm Vashitta.
And I'm Jaime.
Yep.
That's us today.
Welcome back, Jaime.
Thank you.
Done with your Caribbean?
Yeah, it's
Central American?
Caribbean, Central American.
Tell us about it a little
Belize. It was a fabulous trip, actually. We went to Belize, stayed outside of a very small little Garifuna town called Hopkins, Belize, and really just had a fabulous time snorkeling and learning about the culture and Mayan ruins and birds and all kinds of stuff. So it was very, very nice. It's also very hot. So now that it's warmed up here since we left, but it's still not as hot as there. So now I'm like at 70 degrees going, oh my God, I'm so cold. So my body needs to readjust to Ohio weather again. Gabe looks so sad for me.
Shouldn't take long.
Whatever. Okay. While you were gone.
What happened, Gabe? Fill me in.
Moving along.
Yeah. Some of us did not get a Belize vacation.
You got to go camping with your kids' school group, though. Wasn't that fun? That wasn't a vacation?
Nothing like a cinder block cabin in the middle of Bell Fountain, Ohio.
That sounds like a dream trip, Gabe.
Yay.
Yay.
Camp Wilson. It was fine. Okay. While you were gone, the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, right?
Yes.
That's CBO, has released its score on the AHCA, the American Health Care Act, the bill to destroy Obamacare. They're saying that 23 million Americans would lose health insurance under Pau Ryan's AHCA bill.
And like tens of millions of them immediately. It was something like either 13 or 18 million like would lose it this year.
Right.
Then over the course of a few years, the remaining 23 million would also lose there. So
yeah, it was.
Yeah. No, I mean, incredibly disturbing. And the benefit that we get in exchange for destroying people's access to healthcare is a tax cut for the wealthiest Americans.
Of course.
So poor people, you don't need health care. Rich people, here's your tax credit.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, Pau Ryan wants to body slam the sickest Americans, the most in need, most vulnerable Americans. Body slam.
I've had enough of body slams for the past day. 24 hours.
Kind of like that candidate in Montana there, Gabe.
Oh, gosh.
Last night he body slammed a reporter, the candidate running for the congressional office, over questions about
kicking people off healthcare.
Exactly. Yeah. But reporters are supposed to ask questions. So I'm so confused on where he went wrong.
Right.
Well, Trump doesn't have to. Trump doesn't have to answer those questions.
Trump
Why is he begging him?
Yeah. Because Trump is surrounded by yes men.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there were many people that pointed out as we were all hearing the audio of the reporter's assault. And people were saying, hey, if you want a job where you're not going to have reporters shoving audio recorders into your face and asking questions, Congress ain't
don't become a politician, because clearly that's what your job's going to be entitled to do. Answer questions, give interviews, etc., etc. Not body slam people because you're throwing a fit.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, reporters put microphones in my face when I don't want to answer questions too. Yeah. And guess what? I answer the questions.
Or
that's
like
what
a responsible adult, you walk away.
Yeah. I don't have a comment on that at this time, and you walk away.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You don't.
You know, we live in different times now, though, right? Yeah.
For some people.
Yeah.
I would still not body slam any reporters. Because
clearly
here at NARAL, we operate from a don't, piss off the people who, can post everything online and make your life miserable.
Exactly.
Don't pick a fight with somebody that buys ink by the barrel.
Yes.
Or who gets their pixels for free.
There you go.
Good update on that one.
Yeah. But, it's it gets to sort of the frustration that I think a lot of people have with this attempt to destroy the nation's healthcare system for the benefit of the rich. I guess there was one other member of Congress that was really pressed on the issue and actually broke down in tears in his attempt to explain why they were doing this. And that's a Republican who is behind this. He couldn't even keep a straight face. He, completely lost his shit in having to explain it. It's the most heartless thing out there. And here's this, party who claims to stand for the right to life. And here they are destroying people's ability to live.
Yeah, I found it really interesting. Catholics for Life, or whatever the organization was, put out a immediate press release on how the bill has a whole bunch of pro-life provisions in it. And what they mean on that is anti-Planned Parenthood and anti-abortion provisions in it. There is nothing in that bill that is actually pro-life, because kicking 23 million people off their health insurance is the exact opposite of being pro-life. So I found it really interesting that their one communication on it was how pro-life this bill was.
Exactly.
Right. Sorry about your luck.
It'll
be interesting to see. I mean, that election's today.
Right.
He body slammed the reporter the day before the election, and a bunch of the newspapers in Montana have actually unendorsed, pulled their endorsements, reran their copy, redid all their layout on the papers.
Crap, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, one of them redid their whole front page layout.
That's a hell of a thing since it
Yeah.
came out last night.
Exactly. I mean, they did that overnight. It was pretty impressive. I mean, that's an expensive thing to do and a hard thing to do.
Very, I don't know, very uncommon, but so is body slamming a reporter.
Yeah,
so, I mean,
it's definitely worth it.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see who wins that special election today, and whether or not this whole Trump's a new America where we just get to body slam reporters is going to be acceptable to voters, or
right.
Just do whatever the heck we want. So yeah. Right.
Well, I mean, this is the second special election, third. And these have become a bit of a bellwether cycle.
Yeah.
Where people are starting to figure out how were Republicans going to do in the 2018 elections. How did they do down in the district in Georgia where it's going to a runoff election after the Democrat, almost got 50% of the vote down there. Now in Montana, which Trump won handily, it's turning into this huge mess.
And there were two actually this week too, so maybe we're up to 4 total. There was one in New Hampshire and one someplace else I can't think of. And the New Hampshire one, the Dem won in a district where Trump won by 7 or 8%, and the other one that I can't, we'll put it in the show notes, I'll find it.
Right.
I feel like the Dem won in a district where Trump won by 20 or something more percent. So we're definitely seeing a trend against these ridiculous policies.
It's weird because the Democrat in me wants to say, hey, this is great, it gives us a real solid shot at winning the seat in Montana that we probably wouldn't have won otherwise. The political science major in me, it's well, damn it, the whole body slamming thing threw off this as an experiment.
Yeah.
I would have a read on exactly how voters are feeling, and this has biased it because of
I don't know.
We'll take it out.
Yeah.
I mean, Joni Ernst talked about castrating pigs and TV commercials. Yes, the body slam of the reporter took it to a whole new level, but voters were okay with some really crazy shit before. So I don't
by
know.
The pussy.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
I would not be surprised, honestly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And meanwhile, of course, keep an eye on what's happening in DC as not anymore Paul Ryan, but now Rob Portman and his friends continue to try and figure out exactly how they want to destroy Obamacare, and dismantle the Affordable Care Act.
Yep.
So
stay tuned.
Yeah.
Right.
For just how bad it will get.
Here in Columbus, we're continuing to shine a light on Ohio Supreme Court Justice Sharen Kennedy. We've discussed that several times now. We're still calling for...
give new viewers just a little bit of an overview.
Yeah.
So...
Go right ahead.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You can do it. You're right,
I guess I spoke too soon. So with Sharen Kennedy, basically had went and did a fundraiser where she spoke at with the Toledo, Ohio Right to Life organization, and pretty much, I mean, it just goes against the standards of what you should do as the justice. You know, remember, because it's going to create some bias. And so now that certain individuals and organizations are calling for her to recuse herself, we're waiting for that to happen or see what's going to happen.
Right.
Yeah. And what's really, I mean, and it's especially egregious because she did it in Toledo. You know, Greater Toledo Right to Life was a part of passing the bill that the clinic is challenging in court. So it wasn't like it was, you know, Cincinnati Right to Life or Athens County Right to Life. Like, it was the local Right to Life chapter that started pushing, like, did the press conference for the bill, worked with legislators. I mean, they were directly working with it. And now she's supposed to, you know, be able to be honestly impartial.
I feel like she has that Trump mentality. Like, I'm just going to do what I want, and I dare you to say something. Yeah. Like, I don't know what else to call it.
Yeah. Well, you know, when she ran for this office, the Ohio Bar Association, you know, did not endorse her. They didn't feel that she was prepared for the job.
That is true.
You know, for her to have made this choice and to be sort of sticking to her guns, you know, it's not entirely the most surprising.
Exactly.
However, you know, more and more people are calling for her to recuse herself from this case. As you noted, you know, our complaint, NARAL, Pro-Choice Ohio, and Progress Ohio, were joined by you know, over 50 other signers, different physicians, different groups. And following that, like we talked about last week, the Plain Dealer editorial board held a little roundtable, and most of the members of the Plain Dealer editorial board agree that she should recuse herself. And then just the other day, yesterday, Wednesday the 24th, the Columbus Dispatch weighed in for their second editorial on this.
They once wasn't enough.
Right. They said it's disingenuous to compare a speech to Right to Life on any topic with a public address at, say, the Rotary Club or a Chamber of Commerce. Kennedy should step aside. So they said very clearly that, you know, this doesn't, Sharen Kennedy's speech to Greater Toledo Right to Life, you know, that's not just like a normal speech. It's showing clear bias.
Absolutely.
She's no longer able to be impartial in this case on the Toledo abortion clinic. She's got to recuse herself.
Yeah.
It's clear.
Unfortunately, her Chief Justice doesn't agree with her because she wrote that letter defending her and everything else. So we'll see, you know, what kind of pressure does come to bear. I mean, the state has already done their brief on the case, the capital care case, and the responding brief, I think, is due at the beginning of June. So they'll start, you know, going back and forth after that. So we'll see what happens.
Right. You know, it occurred to me earlier today, who should really be filing a brief in this case is actually ProMedica, the hospital chain up in Toledo, because they have not yet signed a transfer agreement. It'd be very simple for them to do so. They say they want to remain impartial. If they really want to be impartial, they should file a brief to the Supreme Court saying, hey, we shouldn't be in this position. Drop the law.
They should.
You think?
They should. Hey, Randy Ostra, you should think about that.
Right.
Actually, you should just think about doing the freaking transfer agreement and stop being a wuss, but, you know, whatever.
Right. You know, either move would get us closer to where we need to be, you know, or both.
Yeah,
that works too.
Okay, the next thing on the agenda, House Bill 149. We had a committee hearing yesterday. You want to talk about it?
Sure. So less than 12 hours after my plane landed in the United States, I was back in the Ohio State House because they missed me so much.
We did.
So House Bill 149, it's the bill that, this ridiculous, stupid, unnecessary bill that talks about donation of fetal tissue following an abortion procedure. Had its fourth hearing, didn't have any testimony, but had 2 amendments introduced. The first one was one that made the bill, so, you know, it's 100% bad right now. It maybe made it like 0.5% better. Because the bill from beginning to end is stigmatizing towards abortion providers and the patients who go to them for care. So it singles out just abortion providers for a new set of rules on how they can or cannot in this case, donate fetal tissue following an abortion procedure. They had to follow totally different rules than miscarriage and all those other rules.
Yeah, we've talked about this before. It's kind of making things that are already illegal or not happening double illegal.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's stupid.
So, and then in an additional really stupid move, they decided to define abortion providers as abortionists for the first time ever in Ohio Revised Code.
It would put the word abortionist into law.
Yes. So, and we of course fought back against that because these are physicians who provide abortion services. They are very proud of what they do. Our abortion providers love the fact that they help the patients who come to them.
But it's not the only thing that they do, so they should not be classified as such.
And if they want to classify themselves that way, that's their prerogative. It's not the Ohio legislature. We don't call cardiologists open heart surgeonists or cosmetic surgeons faceliftists.
Right.
You shouldn't be calling an OBGYN who does abortion care an abortionist.
Yeah, because I mean the term abortionist they're using as a slur.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
it's very stigmatizing.
Yeah. You gave a couple examples there. The one that comes to my mind is, we wouldn't refer to lawyers as shysters in the law.
Yeah,
exactly. No matter what they're called on the streets.
Right. Yes. And the defense from one of the committee members was, well, I've Googled this term and it came up, and it's like, well, big damn deal.
Like
a lot of shit you can Google.
That you don't believe everything you see on the internet.
Right.
So as a lawmaker, you should know better.
Yeah. Right. So the First Amendment was actually to remove that abortionist terminology from the bill.
Yes.
So the good move.
Mission accomplished.
Thank you very much. But the bill that amendment passed. Not unanimously. Our Dems actually voted for it, along with some of the more moderate Republicans. Right. A handful of the more conservative Republicans voted no, that they wanted to keep this language in there.
And those were the whiniest.
They were really whiny.
Yeah.
Representative Niraj Antani did not say no. He said no. I've never heard someone moan out a no vote.
Listen, I'm telling you, these are different times we're living in. What is going on?
He was such a brat.
Yeah, he was pissed. He was just like, he objected to it, and just
no. God, I wish we had audio.
I know. That'd be so much fun to make a viral line.
Yeah, he annoys me.
Yeah. Continuously. He's been a subject of many various podcasts over the years. So that what makes the bill a tiny bit better. So we applaud that move. Again, the bill still stigmatizes abortion providers from beginning to end, is completely unnecessary and making things already illegal even more illegal.
Right.
So the bill's still bad. The Second Amendment actually didn't go anywhere because thankfully, one of our House staff members on the Democratic side knows the rule book for the House backwards and forwards. Good job, Kevin. And they tried to, so they couldn't smush the two amendments together because they needed Democratic votes to get the abortionist language out.
Right.
And they needed Republican votes for this other amendment, so they couldn't smash them together because
it couldn't be one amendment.
Yeah. Okay. So they had to pull it apart. And there's a House rule, I think it was House Rule 41 to be exact, that said that you cannot introduce two different amendments in the same committee hearing, altering the same paragraph of a bill. And that's what it did.
That's a weird rule.
It is a weird rule. But
okay, so there was a technicality and they got busted on it.
Yeah, they got busted on it. They took a 15-minute break and said,
kind of get some more legal opinions on it. And exactly came back as like, okay, yeah, you're right.
It was funny though, because they had cited a different rule, like 90 something. Mm-hmm. And so the chair had to come back and say, well, you had the number wrong. But you were right. So he, in a little face-saving mood, he moved. He got to be like, you had the number wrong.
So the important part was the bill has not been further adopted, amended to potentially make it worse. We're not quite sure.
Yeah, we're still trying to figure out.
So we're still looking and seeing. And this bill is the one of all the ones that have been introduced this year is the one that's moved the farthest.
Yeah.
So if we see anything on the House floor, House Bill 149 could
probably
potentially be it.
Yeah. And, we're making a big deal of it because it is stigmatizing and we work every day to reduce the stigma that exists around abortion. But again, House Bill 149, unlike the method ban and all those other things that we've talked about, would have the least amount of impact, actually zero impact on the actual provision of care in Ohio, because our providers already don't do these. So again, waste of time and all those kinds of things.
Right.
But for our listeners, on the scale of how bad is this bill, like in actual provision of service, realm, not bad at all, because it really will not change how any of our providers do anything.
But it's stupid.
But it's stupid and stigmatizing and just a jerk asshole move in general.
Okay.
There you go.
So
Can we talk about good things, please?
Yeah. Do we have any bills that aren't stupid?
Yes. Thanks for the lead in there, Gabriel.
What you got?
So House Bill 234 was introduced.
I love the ones that have nice, easy to remember numbers.
Yes.
House Bill 234.
Yes. It was reintroduced. Actually, it's a reintroduction by Representative Stephanie House out of the Cleveland area and Representative Michelle Lepore-Hagan out of the Youngstown area. It is the Clinic Protection Act that was introduced as part of our Access Without Apology agenda last session, coming back again. So this bill would create, excuse me, a right of civil law for a clinic doctor or owner or those kind of things to sue a protester if the harassment outside of a clinic got to a certain level. It would also allow them to kind of protect their identity and those kind of things, because so often when you do pursue a lawsuit, your name, your address, all these things become very public record. And in the case of an abortion provider, those things becoming public record is dangerous.
Right.
Absolutely.
So this is not a buffer zone bill.
No, this is not a buffer zone bill, although I'm sure that the antis will call it that immediately, because then they get to fight about whether it's constitutional or not.
They've said something else immediately, but keep going.
So, happened while I was gone, so I haven't seen that. So I'll be surprised in a minute. And so it would allow that to happen. And then the other half of it is actually kind of a state version of the local ordinance we passed in Columbus last year. So it would create stiffer penalties for blockading a clinic, which is what we saw in Kentucky a couple of weeks ago with Operation Rescue, and or harassing clinic staff or volunteers or patients. So it kind of expand that protection that exists in Columbus to a statewide level. Again, not a buffer, just increased penalties and a better course of action.
Right. The line that the antis are using is that Democrats are filing this because they find pro-life free speech annoying. Annoying is actually in quotes in the
because it's in the freaking bill.
Right.
Because it's actually a legal term. Annoy is actually a legally defined legal term that is used all over. It's actually what the definition of disorderly conduct includes the word annoy. So it's actually a legally defined term in law, which is why it's used. It doesn't mean that I'm like the kid in the back seat poking my sister and annoying her. It's actually like a legally defined level of harassment.
Right. But I mean, harassment is the word I'd use to describe this. Harassment.
Yeah.
Sometimes assault.
Yeah.
Just badgering somebody to the point where it's almost stalking when you're right outside that facility.
Like what happened in
absolutely.
Dayton. I mean, people who've listened to for a long time heard us talk about the campaign that was done against the backup doctors, not even the abortion provider, but the backup doctors of the clinic in Dayton were harassed continuously outside of their house. Wow. One of their daughters was actually followed by a big, huge truck, a cargo truck with her mom's headshot and the bloody fetus pictures that said that these people are the killers among us. They actually followed her teenage daughter on a run around the neighborhood. They parked outside their houses and their offices and their hospital and everything. So, this is the behavior that we're talking about. It's not your little sister poking you in the back seat.
Right. That's above and beyond annoying.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's stalking and harassment.
Exactly. Absolutely dangerously.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, it's not annoying. It's dangerous.
Yeah.
So Representative House and Representative Lepore-Hagan have introduced this, and we'll see where it goes.
Yes.
Hopefully they'll get some committee hearings. We'll keep people posted. But, everybody should write their state legislator and say, hey, if you want to pass some bills about abortion clinics, here's a good one.
Yeah. Don't restrict access to it. Make sure, because, no matter where you stand on this issue, we should all agree that when somebody makes a decision to have an abortion, they should be able to walk into a clinic without harassment, get the medical care that they need, and, not be dependent on where they live or how much money they make and all those things. So these are our values.
Right. Okay. Should we let's get it on?
Yes. I still need to call Randy and make her.
I know. Like I hear a clip of Marvin Gaye singing that when we say that.
Randy did it so much better. Sorry,
Yeah,
Gabe.
well.
So what's happening, Vashitta?
Well, time is ticking. So next weekend, actually, time is really flying. We will be doing Dayton Parade and Pride in the CLE. And that's June 3rd. So
I can't believe it's almost
I
June
know,
already.
crazy. I'm like, wait, what? Next weekend?
Right.
Yes, next weekend. So we are looking for volunteers. We have sent out some blast emails. We will be sending out some localized emails as well. You kind of want to shed light on that, Gabe?
Yeah, we'll be sending these out to people who've signed up on our website. So if you go to prochoiceohio.org, if you don't already get our emails, and if you're listening to this podcast and you don't get our emails, I'm not going there's like 3 of you. But do make sure that you're signed up for our emails, and when you get them, forward them to your friends.
Yeah.
Because we'd love to have them sign up too. I mean, the number one thing that somebody can do to help out when they're volunteering is to volunteer with a friend. It
Bring a
doubles
friend.
our volunteer base.
Mhm.
Yeah, and check the show notes on this. You can sign up right there, and register as a volunteer to let Vashitta know, or up in Cleveland, let Andy know that you'd be coming.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I've already been getting some volunteers who are ready for next week. So that's awesome. And, we'll just keep moving forward. We have many prides to go this summer. So exciting times.
Yep. June 10th in Athens.
June 11th.
June 11th in Athens. There you go. Here one that's not a pride, but I just want to throw it out there. June 14th is the next reproductive health happy hour here in Columbus.
Yes.
There was one last week. I missed it because I never know when they're going to be.
Actually, I think it was like last night because I was just
interesting.
too exhausted to go.
And then June 16th is the Columbus Pride Parade. So do you want to talk about Columbus Pride? I mean, you normally run the booth, Jaime.
But I'm not going to this year. But.
Okay. Well.
But no, it's an awesome event. It actually starts Friday night. So it's Friday night and all day Saturday. We'll be tabling out there. There's great music, great food, just a great environment. They actually are moving it back downtown. So if you've been in Columbus for a really long time, you remember that Pride and Comfest used to be the same ridiculous weekend. Which was
I don't remember that because I wasn't here then.
Yeah, it was completely crazy. And so they would do Comfest in Goodale Park and do the Pride Festival down in Bicentennial Park where the old fountain and everything was, down in the southern part of along the river.
All on the same day.
All on the same. It was the same weekend. Like
crazy.
Comfest went Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Pride was the Saturday of that weekend too.
Right.
So it was like the crazy weekend in Columbus. But then they did all the Scioto Mile reconstruction and everything and forced Pride to move out of there because the park didn't exist. So they actually moved it up a week and started doing it in Goodale Park. So it was just like 2 weeks in a row of ridiculousness in Goodale Park, which I'm sure the neighborhood loved. So the Columbus Pride is actually making its new debut downtown again. So it'll be in that Scioto Mile redone park area in the southern part of downtown again this year. So the Pride March will flip again and start in the short north and come downtown versus the other way around. So it'll be really interesting to see it in a new space and how they get this set up and everything. So it'll be fun to be back downtown again.
Good luck parking.
And by downtown, she means Bicentennial Park.
Yes. The Scioto Mile.
Yes.
All that stuff down there by the river.
Right.
Absolutely.
I'm sure you can't miss it if you get close to the river because it'll be huge. It's like the second biggest Pride in the Midwest, second to Chicago. So go Columbus.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Preterm, our friends up at Preterm have an event called Policy and Pride in Ohio. That's on June 19th. You can find that on their Facebook page. And then the weekend after that is the Comfest, Cleveland Pride, Cincinnati Pride, you name it. We're doing a festival that weekend.
Exactly. Somehow, some way, we'll be at all of them.
And then the end of June, we'll be seeing John Kasich sign the budget. So we're continuing to keep an eye on, how the budget process moves along. We have not seen abortion restrictions inserted into the bill just yet, but there's still a full month left.
Yeah. Next week, we'll see the next round of amendments. So stay tuned. Next week, we'll let you know.
Right.
Yeah.
And all these other bills that are sitting around, we'll let you know if hearings start up on that. So
Right.
stay tuned.
Okay. Anything else?
Well, I think that's it.
I think that's it.
Okay. We'll see everybody next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.